Я представитель сейчас военной компании. Наверное, слышали, ЧВК «Вагнер» называется. У вас есть кто-нибудь, кто может вас десятки срока отсюда из зоны вытащить? Я вас живыми забираю. Но не всегда живыми возвращаю.
We begin with breaking news. Russia's state media now confirming that Wagner mercenary group leader Yevgeny Prigozhin
was on board the private jet that crashed near Moscow.
Hello fellow viewers, welcome back to our channel. Today we've got an absolutely mind-blowing story for you. Ever wondered how a talented chef transformed into the commander of the world's largest private military group, the Wagner Group? Well, get ready to be captivated by the incredible journey of Yevgeny Prigozhin. This man not only cooked for Vladimir Putin, but later led armies in his name. Talk about a plot twist. But that's not all, folks. Prigozhin's story takes some unexpected turns, including a rebellious phase against the very forces he once fought for. Trust us, this is one roller coaster ride you don't want to miss. So buckle up, because we're about to delve deep into the enigmatic world of the Wagner Group and its sprawling business empire. But before we jump into the Wagner Group itself, it would be equally important to understand the man who found this group, Yevgeny Prigozhin. Prigozhin's story is nothing short of cinematic thriller. Prigozhin was born and brought up in St. Petersburg, the very hometown of Vladimir Putin. A young Prigozhin was 18 years old when he was sentenced to jail for theft, and a few years later he was handed a whopping 13-year jail term for robbery and theft, serving a good chunk of it behind bars. But that's just the beginning. After being released from jail, he started selling hot dogs on the streets of St. Petersburg. And guess what? Business thrived. In the wild 90s, he not only established a chain of stalls, but also opened swanky restaurants that became the talk of the town. In one of his ventures, a restaurant named New Island, he created a floating sensation on the Neva River. And who became a regular customer? None other than Vladimir Putin himself. It was here that their paths crossed and their friendship began. In 2003, when Putin chose New Island, a restaurant of Yevgeny Prigozhin, to celebrate his birthday. From there, Prigozhin's company Concord lands a gig supplying food to the Kremlin, earning him the cheeky title of Putin's chef. But it doesn't stop there.
Wagner mercenaries have taken a leading role in Russia's war in Ukraine, but the group is also active in Syria and Africa.
When Russia invaded Ukraine in 2014, Prigozhin saw a business opportunity in this. He founded the Wagner Group with secretive fighters. They were first seen fighting against Ukrainian forces in an area called Donbass. Although the Wagner Group started their first operation in Ukraine, they didn't just stick to Ukraine. They were active in different parts of Africa and even further away. They did things that helped the Russian government, like supporting a leader named Bashar al-Assad in Syria and working against French influence in Mali. Over time, the brutality of the Wagner Group just became insane. There were terrible reports about them, like hurting a person from Syria very badly in 2017. They did really bad things, like using a heavy tool to hurt him, cutting off his head, and setting his body on fire. In the next year, 3 Russian reporters investigating the Wagner Group were killed in the Central African Republic. Then in 2022, there was another awful incident. The Wagner Group was accused of killing someone with a heavy tool because they thought he had betrayed them in Ukraine. Prigozhin, the man connected to all this, talked about a video that showed this horrible event, saying it was a terrible death for a bad person. He even said he sent a weapon covered in blood to some European politicians who wanted to label Wagner as a terrorist group. For a long time, Prigozhin said he had nothing to do with the Wagner Group and even took legal action against people who suggested otherwise. But in September 2022, he admitted that he actually started the group in 2014. The Wagner Group was very useful for Putin and the Kremlin because he was doing things that Russia cannot do openly. Technically, the Wagner Group was an independent identity, so whatever they will do, the Kremlin cannot be linked with it. This was the best ally for Russia and the Wagner Group.
They're the graves of Wagner mercenaries killed in Ukraine. The graves are simple, wooden cross, and bright wreaths adorned with the Wagner Group's logo.
The Wagner Group got involved in the war in Ukraine. At first, Prigozhin stayed out of the spotlight, communicating through his catering company. But when Russia launched a big attack on Ukraine in 2022, they needed his group's help. After denying Wagner's existence for a long time, the Russian-controlled media suddenly admitted they were fighting in eastern Ukraine in July 2022. Prigozhin started posting videos online bragging about their actions in Ukraine. They had access to a lot of military equipment like jets, helicopters, and tanks, which was unusual for a private group. When many Russian soldiers were killed in Ukraine, Prigozhin was allowed to recruit prisoners. He visited jails, promising inmates they'd go home free with clean records after 6 months of fighting for Wagner if they survived. As Russia's invasion didn't go well, Prigozhin criticized Russia's military leaders more and more. His relationship with the defense ministry got worse, and he was stopped from recruiting more prisoners in early 2023. He accused the defense ministry of not giving enough ammunition and even accused top military leaders of treason.
That the head of the Wagner mercenary group has called for armed rebellion. President Putin calling it a criminal act, an attempt to subvert us from the inside. He said it's treason. This is a stab in the back of our troops.
In June 2023, Prigozhin said Russia's military attacked a Wagner base in Ukraine, which Russia denied. His fighters moved from Ukraine into Russia, taking over important military places in a city called Rostov-on-Don near the border. Russia accused Prigozhin of starting a rebellion, and Putin called his actions treason. But then, Prigozhin stopped his fighters from marching to Moscow to remove the military leaders. He said he made a deal helped by Belarus leader Alexander Lukashenko. After the unsuccessful coup from the Wagner group, Yevgeny Prigozhin, along with 9 others, including senior Wagner fighter Dmitry Utkin, tragically lost their lives in a private plane crash on August 23rd. This incident occurred north of Moscow during a flight between the Russian capital and St. Petersburg. According to UK defense sources, it is believed that Russia's FSB intelligence agency may have played a role in the crash. The UK government is considering labeling Wagner as a terrorist organization. Wagner has faced accusations of severe human rights violations, including torture and civilian killings. Now, the future of the Wagner Group is more uncertain than ever. And there you have it, the astonishing and controversial tale of Yevgeny Prigozhin and the Wagner Group, a journey that took us from a bustling kitchen in St. Petersburg to the heart of covert military operations. The twists and turns, the intrigue and brutality, it's a story that continues to captivate the world. With Prigozhin's untimely demise, the future of the Wagner Group hangs in the balance. As allegations of human rights violations and covert operations surface, one can only wonder what's next for this enigmatic entity. We'll be keeping a close eye on the developments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more incredible stories like this. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the mysteries of our world.